Alright, got a very special review for you today. This time it's going to be of the 1/30th scale entire setup for Dol Guldur. This set made its debut at Comic-Con in 2016. This is a special review between us at theonering.net and Weta Workshop. I'm super stoked to bring you this review. It's the entire setup, like I said. It's all the figures, all the environment pieces. And the really neat thing about this is that you can either kind of have your whole setup like what we saw in the movie and recreate that scene. You can take the figures and move them around and make a different setup if you want. You can just have them in different parts to kind of create different scenes in your collection, just pieces here and there. It's a pretty monster setup. It's 4 environment pieces, 4 figures, so it's 8 pieces total. It's going to be one heck of a review. I hope you guys really enjoy it because I'm really excited to do this. The pieces themselves are metal. They're super heavy. The environment pieces are super detailed. You've got Gandalf and Galadriel being it's one big piece that you can center things around. You've got a couple of the Nazgul. You've got Elrond. It's going to be really neat. You got the centerpiece with the statue holding the Calandria that Saruman ends up with. So it's going to be a really cool setup. I really hope you guys love this because if you guys continue to support this line, we got more stuff coming that like what we saw at Comic-Con. We got more ring wraiths. We got Saruman. We got Radagast and the bunnies. And then obviously that lets them know that we want more 1/30th scale lines. We want something from Lord of the Rings. Give us some more Hobbit. So we got a chance to really expand this out and go deep into different scenes. And like I said, the greatest thing for collectors with this line is that you can create your own scenes. It's really unique that way. Most collectibles, whether or not they're environments, they're dioramas, statues, you really can't set up scenes. I mean, you got special pieces like the Eowyn and the Morgul Lord from the old, the original Lord of the Rings line. You got Boromir and Lurch from the new stuff that you could create scenes. You don't get that very often, especially with dioramas where you can move things around. And these you can. They're really high detail, paint, sculpt, all that kind of stuff. They're super, super cool. You got the the figures all range in the $50 range. The environments are anywhere from $99 to $250 depending on which piece you get. The last one that just came out is obviously $250, and it's the biggest piece of them all. So I'm going to show you some of the boxes. I'm going to show you the certificates of authenticity that you get with them that's unique and different. So let me go get this set up. Let's get started because this is going to be a good one. Alright, so before I finish setting everything up, I wanted to show you these editions that are different than the normal statues that you see me review. They come with certificates of authenticity. Each piece does, whether or not it's the bases, which by the way are numbered to 500, or the little figures. They all come with these certificate of authenticity. Say that 3 times fast. So those are pretty cool. I like that. I think that's actually kind of a neat touch. Here is the box for Elrond, and you can see it's different than what we've seen before. Pretty sweet little box, and it's still got the figure in. I haven't taken him out yet. And then here is the box for one of the pieces. And the thing I like about this too is it shows you kind of what it should look like if you put it together normally, which is a help for me, especially for a review like this where I'm going to put it together normally and kind of show you what it looks like together and that kind of stuff. So it helps to have a tool sometimes to help you out with some of these things, because there's a lot of pieces here, and I'll explain. Most of these pieces have, except in the back, all have come together in parts. So like this is a couple different pieces. These are 3 different pieces, 3 different pieces. So it's a lot going on, and it helps to know what it should look like when you put it together, even if you're just creating one particular sequence. So let me finish setting them up, and we'll get right back. So we got Galadriel and Gandalf here, and you can see, and I show you guys this obviously, the little base. Pretty incredible detail really on these figures. Paint's absolutely fantastic for something this tiny. Even got, if I can get it, there we go. Ring. Get you a look at Gandalf. Pretty slick. And like I said, it's got this little base, so that way if you just buy this figure, you can kind of have something to put it on. Really great stuff. This is sculpted by, like I said, Gary Hunt and Greg Tozier. They collaborated on this, and I don't know who did what. So, just kind of one of those you're gonna have to guess. But it's really cool. It captures that where she's helped save him. Gandalf's obviously pretty beat up after dealing with Sauron. Really incredible work, actually. I mean, just the detail in something this tiny. And these, like I said, you'll hear me say it later in the review. These things are metal and they're heavy. You drop one of these on your foot, it's gonna hurt. And the reason I'm not using the Lazy Susan to spin around is these things are tiny, and to do what I normally do, you would never see all the details. So kind of have to go a little old-fashioned and just spin them by hand. So that's it for Galadriel and Gandalf. I'll slide them out of the way. I'll let you look at this for a second while I grab one of the others. Alright, so we got Lord Elrond here. And I will tell you with the next three guys, they all have weapons. They all come wrapped in straws, which I wasn't expecting. But be careful with the weapons because they are thin metal, and like it happens to be with thin metal, if you bend it too much, it's going to snap off. But pretty good detail really in the likeness, I think. Pretty good detail in his armor. And it also has that metallic look, even without the figure itself being metal. Kind of like the larger figure did. And really, really good job. If I can get it, there we go. Of the detail in the armor. This was, like I said earlier, I'd say they're all Gary Hunt and Greg Tozier, and I'll be honest, I think this one's Gary Hunt if I remember right. They're all $50. All the figures are $50. So, and then obviously we had Saruman, a couple more of the Ring Race, and Radagast with the bunnies at Comic-Con. So hopefully we get those. If this line does well, hopefully we can finish off with those, and then maybe get a Lord of the Rings set. I'm thinking I need a 1/30th scale Aragorn and Black Gates type scenario maybe, or Helm's Deep. Grab a couple of these guys here. Alright, that's it for Elrond. Let's slide him out of the way here. Got the Witch King here, which I think this piece is almost exactly like the larger statue they did. I'd have to look at the poses exactly to see if there's much difference, but I don't think there is. Pretty cool detail. He's also got a skull base. Let's see if I can get you a look at the helmet. It's pretty slick on the armor. I do like this look, actually. It's pretty slick. It's different to see him wear the helmet, though, compared to the fact that the helmet he wears in The Lord of the Rings. I don't know why. I guess maybe because he gets defeated, or they get defeated by Galadriel. Maybe it destroys this armor and everything, so he has to have a new helmet for The Lord of the Rings. I'd be curious to know the thoughts behind that. And I don't think we've heard any of that in any of the behind-the-scenes stuff. And the two ring wraiths, I will tell you, of the figures, are the heaviest, and will definitely leave a mark. The weapon, again, is obviously very fragile. Be very careful with it. You got some great weathering down here to make the cloak look dirty. So that's pretty slick. It doesn't, you know, you got to be careful with something at this scale, not to make it look bad. But this really came through in production, so it's pretty slick. And the neat thing about these figures, even if you decided not to get the environments pieces, you just want the figures. They're all got flat bases. You could build, you know, a collection of just the figures if you really wanted to. But to me, I don't know how you do that and not at least get one piece or two pieces, so you can create some scenes. I mean, that's kind of the whole point. So I would definitely encourage you to get the figures, and if not, maybe just get this big piece, the big Colonnade piece here, so that way you can recreate it and have just this piece. So I think it's worth it myself. Alright, so, and then one of the ring wraiths that got introduced to us with the name in The Hobbit, the ring wraith of Farad, got a pretty cool like mace weapon, and you'll see the other part of him in the back. Be careful, again, thin on both parts, could very easily mess it up. Really slick helmet here. Great detail. He's got vines and stuff on his base. And again, dirty cloak. And it's pretty cool. It comes out well. It looks muddy and kind of disgusting. And this is the part I was talking about, you know, as far as it's pretty thin back there, and you could be really easy to break if you're not careful. The rest of it, heavy. Gonna hurt if you drop it. Well, that's it for all the little figures. We'll start going through the base pieces and be... Alright, we'll start with the Calandria Courtyard here. It's $99. It's limited to 500 pieces worldwide. It's the smallest of the pieces to create the whole environment. It does come with this little guy. Got the little Calandria there. And then you can kind of, I put him right here for just the purposes of this. But when you put Galadriel and stuff and Gandalf, and you'll see it later in the review, you put them back because it gives you the opportunity to fit her on it without the little black base that you'll see. Kind of spin this around here. Really great work on the rock to look old and beat up and stuff. You can see where it's kind of smooth in certain bits, so it all fits together. Really cool detail here on the back. There we go. All the vines and stuff that are growing on it. The skeletons in this thing crack me up. They're detailed, they're creepy, it's old, run down, just like it was in the movie. I mean, this is a place that hasn't been inhabited by normal people for quite some time. But this is really cool. Dave Tremont, and you'll hear me say it again later, Dave Tremont and Leonard Ellis did all the environmental pieces. You've seen all their work on all the other stuff, Minas Tirith and the Argonath and Rivendell and all the other stuff. I mean, these guys are all over the place, the Hobbit holes. I mean, these guys do quality environmental work, and they should. I mean, they did stuff with the movies, so I'm not surprised. The paints on it is fantastic. I mean, it looks old and run down, which is, you know, like I said, it's supposed to. It's pretty sweet. Got some creepiness with the rocks and the steps. Like I said, this one's 500 pieces. Well, they're all 500 pieces. It's not sold out. Still available. $99. Let me grab one of the courtyards. And we'll be right back. Got the south courtyard pulled up here. Now, this one does come in multiple pieces. You have this piece here, and the base. And there's slots in here. If you pull this up, lift up, you can kind of see that it slides into some slots, and the same with over here. You got some really cool skulls on this one too. I'm digging the skulls if you can't tell. Great work on the steps, old and like leaves and decayed stuff. More vines, more rusted metal, more reasons to, if you were in the real Middle Earth and this was a place on the tour list, you might want to check out and say, nah, I'm going to pass on this one. Show you the back of it here as we kind of spin it around. A walkway you might not want to enter. More skulls. Because, I mean, who doesn't love skulls? Well, not in that way, but yeah. This piece is $150, well, $149, sorry. It's also 500 piece edition size. It is not sold out. Also sculpted by Dave Tremont and Leonard Ellis. Really neat. I like that the pieces here come off, because depending on what your display space is, you might not be able to fit even something this size. You might have to take it off. And so it still gives you the options to play around and create your scene and do what you need to do with it, and not take away from the fact that, you know, you had to leave a part out. So these are really customizable, and actually, to be honest with you, they're customizable if you wanted to do your own stuff, you know, with them on your own, add some binds, do some things. You could even do that. I mean, these things give you options galore. Let's see if I can stand up and get you kind of a look from above. Alright guys, I'll grab the other courtyard and alright, got the north courtyard here all set up. It is also multiple pieces. You got this piece here and this piece here, and then the base. It's numbered to 500, like the others. You can see where down here at the bottom where it fits in with the other stuff. Got lots of skeletons here. Got a poor guy that, I don't know what happened to him, but he had a bad day. And look at the detail. I mean, seriously, look at the detail. To get that at 1/30th, well, that's actually probably lower, smaller than 1/30th. That's pretty ridiculous. Cool stairs. You got some skulls with helmets. You hear me talk about it a little bit later in this review. I really don't know whether or not this is a human helmet or if it's an elven helmet. I think it may be elven. Whatever it is, poor guy's dead. Got some more, got another guy with a helmet here. And this metal work here, if I get my finger in it here, I mean, that's incredible. It looks rusty, it looks old, it looks beat up, and you get that through the entire 1/30th environment here. It's pretty spectacular, really, to get that much detail in something this tiny, because I mean, it's little, but it's not. And to get this much detail in it is pretty incredible. The paint in production is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it looks every bit the same as the prototypes did at Comic-Con the last 2 years. I think you guys are going to really, really love these pieces. Some of these you guys might already have by the time you see this review, but pretty incredible stuff. Kind of going a little fast here, aren't I? Just really neat. I mean, the rustiness. How broken it is. I mean, it really gives the sense of this was once something kind of special and cool and a place to be, and now not so much. Pretty sweet. Alright guys, that's it for this Courtyard. Let me get the newest addition to this collection that they have put out for this, and it's the last piece of the scene, the Colonnade. It just came out. It's $250, 500-piece edition size, still sculpted by Dave Tremont and Leonard Ellis. It's really neat. It's multiple pieces as usual. These, and then these are each separate pieces here. You've got the triangle part, as you can see, if I can find my hand in the scene here. That's where the Calandria Courtyard goes. You've got a skeleton here. This guy, did he die scratching his head? I mean, that's what it looks like. He died scratching his head. Dude, you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. You got pots, and maybe it looks like a cup or two or a mug. Some skeleton skulls. Orcs are having a good old time with that one. You got dead leaves, leg bones, more skulls, steps that have all kinds of oof on it. And I think we have a technical difficulty here. I don't know if I can capture it or not. But there we go. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be his innards. So we have a skeleton. This poor guy's had a bad day. He's dead, and his innards are showing. That's not good. And it's brilliantly captured, by the way. Get you this angle of it. And there's, when I spin it back around, I'll show you something. Oh, you can see it on this side. Never mind. Pretty cool wall. You got this great looking door. Looks like wood. Got wood details. Old rusted metal. It's pretty slick. Got a little, you can see down the little walkway there, more skeletons. Really cool, really, really neat. And this is this piece is a monster. I mean, you are gonna need some space for this one because it's a big piece. Even at 1/30th scale, it's gonna eat up some real estate. But it does give you plenty of space, as you'll see at the end, where you can put plenty of figures. If you wanted just this one piece and just wanted to have a few figures, you could definitely fit them on here. So let me get this whole thing together, get the figures put on it, and we'll be right back. All right, got everything put together. You can see how it looks as one big piece. Kind of get you some shots in of various pieces in here. Some cool looking skulls, some of them with helmets. I don't know if they're elven helmets or human helmets, you know, or not. I don't know. I can't really tell, but they're pretty sweet. You got a pretty cool half skeleton buried in here. Got some neat vines and old pieces of metal. And the detailing in these rocks, and you'll hear me say it off and on throughout this review, obviously, is just the detail and the paint, how it looks old and worn down like it did in the movie. I mean, I think that's pretty fantastic. And the neat thing about this whole environment is you can kibble and bits it together however you want. These pieces come off here in the back if you just want the floor. You could do that. If you just want the top parts in certain places, you could do that. There's a pretty cool door back there. I think I got a good picture of it taking photos. Got the Witch King jumping off up here. And I'll move some of them around to kind of show you what I've talked about in some of the articles we posted about the environment here, and that you can take these pieces and you can move them around and create your own scenes. And I got Elrond here. And there's some pretty incredible detail on Elrond. And they're all heavy, they're all metal, so these things are heavy. You drop one of these things on your foot and you're gonna pay for it. You got the Palantir statue. And there's really, to me, the detail and the paint on these is pretty exceptional, considering how small they are. The likenesses are pretty solid, actually. Let's see if I can't get you a good one here. Pretty cool skeleton. You got the ring wraith of Farad. I'm not sure. Farad, but I don't know. He's cool looking. Cool looking, like, mace thing. And you'll see some of the back sides of some of these as I do them individually. I just wanted to get you a good video of the whole thing put together after I did each piece. So you'll kind of see, I'll be honest, you're going to kind of see this in reverse order. It's easier to do that with the piece like this because of how detailed it is and how many pieces it comes in. You got the vines and stuff here. This thing is sick. I mean, it's sick. It's one of the neatest pieces I think I've had a chance to review. It's heavy, it's detailed, the paint's pretty dang exceptional. Dave Tremont and Leonard Ellis did all the environmental pieces. Greg Tozier and Gary Hunt did the figures. Gary Hunt, I think, did most of them, if I remember right, and Greg Tozier helped out, and they kind of split on the Galadriel and Gandalf. So really, really cool work. Gary Hunt does some great stuff. Greg Tozier does some great stuff. I gotten a chance to talk with Gary Hunt a few times on Facebook and have chats with him, and him and I have exchanged, what I think of his work and the fact that he does such a fantastic job. Back up a little bit here, maybe give you. Really, really cool. Alright, I'm going to move some of these things around so you can see what I was talking about. So let's say, obviously, maybe this isn't how it all went down in the movie, but you decide maybe you want a little bit more of a straight-on confrontation between these two. Well, move them and do it. Maybe the Witch King jumps from up here. Now you got a little 2-on-1 situation here, and Elrond's in a bit of trouble. You can move the neat thing is you can move these around. Galadriel and Gandalf, I will say that as the thought enters my head, has a little black base. Say hello, base. That it can sit on, so it can sit individually if you didn't want to put it here in the courtyard. And the little courtyard guy moves too. I'll show you that when I do the centerpiece individually. But that's one of the things, like I said, I've tried to highlight in my articles about this, is that, you know, you've got all these options. And so, like I said, you can move Elrond up here. He's backed himself into a corner. You've got all right, back. Sorry guys, I had to answer the phone real quick. This piece is really neat. I really hope this line continues to sell and do well, and hopefully this review will push you guys and make you guys interested in buying more of these pieces and snagging more of these pieces and adding more of these pieces to your collection, because this is a neat line. You know, maybe buying a big statue doesn't fit in your collection. Maybe buying a big environment doesn't fit in your collection. Doing these pieces will do that. They will allow you to have Middle Earth in your home, and they're super detailed, they're well done, they have good quality to them, as you would expect from Weta. The paint and all that kind of stuff is fantastic. I just think it really gives you the options too to create the scenes that you wanted to see, to create these battles that you wanted to see. As we get more and more pieces, you can blend and mix in pieces if you want to. So really exceptional stuff, guys. All the bases are 500 pieces. They're all still available. They're not sold out yet. The figures are all open edition, so you can still grab those. We here at Torn are really honored to have been able to team up with Weta and show you guys this. It's been an absolute blast doing this review. I thank you guys so much for all the support. Till next time, guys.